Many life coaches, personal growth consultants, etc., claim that focusing only on your known strengths or your current strengths is the best way to improve yourself and to build the most marketable you. The problem with this kind of thinking, particularly when you're rather young, let's say you're still under 50 or 60 years old, is that you're constantly growing in various areas of your life. And with determined effort, you can change your abilities so that you can become strong in something that previously you might have considered to be a weakness. So, while it's important to consider what you're already good at, you also need to think about what you might or could be good at if you put effort into a particular skill area. For example, you might feel that you're an intelligent person, but you're really not that skilled at using spreadsheet programs. Yet you feel confident that if you really put in the time and effort and receive good training, you could change this potential strength into a clear and marketable strength that could give you an advantage over others in your field or industry. In this case, the time, effort, and resources spent developing this potential strength into a current strength would seem to be very worthwhile. There are a few reasons why you might have particular potential strengths that are not yet developed into current strengths. First, it could be that you haven't yet received sufficient training in that particular skill area. For example, maybe you feel that you have certain musical abilities, but you haven't yet developed this potential strength because you haven't had the formal instruction necessary to move to the next level. Second, perhaps up to this point, you've lacked the opportunity to develop a particular skill area. Maybe you've been too busy with work, or you haven't had the proper resources or the gear. Let's say that you think you'd be a great 10-meter platform diver, but there aren't any 10-meter platforms in your geographic area. You're not going to be able to develop that potential strength very well. Third, maybe you lack the motivation or desire to develop a particular skill area. In fact, the lack of motivation or desire often is going to be exacerbated by your lack of ability in a particular skill area. It's kind of like a spiral or circular process. For example, the fact that you're not good at using spreadsheets is likely going to decrease your desire to use them, and then the resulting lack of use or practice means that you won't develop this potential strength. So why consider potential strengths rather than just focus on those that are already developed? It's because we may decide that we have certain career goals or life aspirations that will require a particular strength. And now we'll have to develop that strength in order to achieve what it is we want to achieve. Or we might have a strong desire or interest in a certain activity, which, if we pursued, we'd end up receiving a great deal of joy or happiness if we were able to perform that activity at a high level. In other words, if we made it into a current strength. That strong interest or desire means that we'd likely be not only willing to put in the effort to develop that potential strength, but we'd enjoy the process along the way. To ignore your potential strengths is, in essence, to ignore your true potential as an individual. And you don't want to do that. So how can you assess your potential strengths? It's not exactly the same way that you'd assess your current strengths. The questions you might want to ask are more along the lines of the following. What are skill areas in which you wish you could perform better? What can you do, but not necessarily do well? What tasks do you often find difficult, but you feel that they're necessary for you to achieve your goals? And finally, what tasks do you avoid or put off because you feel you lack the skills to do them well? Now, just because you found a list of tasks or skill areas that answer the previous questions, this doesn't mean that you've uncovered your list of potential strengths. It's likely you'll have to dig deeper and consider these tasks or skill areas in terms of how they fit into your goals, how much interest you have in developing them, and whether or not there are any firm obstacles that could prevent you from truly moving these from potential strengths into current strengths. And as you may have done if you watched the previous video on assessing current strengths, you should seek feedback from your friends, your relatives, and your coworkers to see what they think about what your potential strengths might be. Finally, when you're done with your assessments, your goal should be to be able to write down a list of between 5 and 10 potential strengths that you can then use in developing your personal marketing strategy. And don't forget to watch the next video in this series, which covers assessing something that you might have been avoiding, and that's completing an assessment of your faults and bad habits. Thanks.